Hey, welcome back. Dr. Matt here. I hope you're ready to get after the food because today I was going to talk about the food hierarchy that I follow. And I think you could find extremely valuable in your own life. I would say, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 people, if they followed this food hierarchy, would find that they'd have more energy, more stamina, sleep would be better, bowels would be better, their likelihood of autoimmunity, if they do have autoimmunity, helping that autoimmunity, all that would be improved. And they'd find that, I got sustained energy. My body composition, it trends in the way I want it to trend. And I don't have to, count calories all the time. I don't have to count macronutrients all the time. I'm gonna have to do all this thought, put all this energy in my food because I've put thought into this particular food hierarchy and just made that my routine. So number one on the list is meat. Reason meat is number one on our list is because meat is completely digestible, 100% digestible. Everything in it is digestible. There's no fibers, no lectins, no phytic acids, not a bunch of oxalates, all these things that are problematic for the body and challenging for the body and create the need for more resources, more energy from the body to try to digest it and break down them. Plus, meat is loaded with satiation and with amazing fatty acids if you get it from good sources. And when I say meat, I'm talking about beef, some chicken, turkey, bison, buffalo, halibut, salmon. You can even throw in like some shrimp, oysters, a bunch of fish. And but if you're just eating like chicken all the time, like chicken breasts, you're probably gonna run into trouble because you're just getting a bolus of protein without a whole lot of extra nourishment, a whole lot of fatty acids along with that. And that really, it's not gonna be satisfied in the long run. And you're gonna find yourself wanting and needing potentially processed food items because your body's like, we're not getting the reward we want from this food substance. And I would say along with the eating whole foods, whole meat products is consider, I would put eggs in that category too as my number one in the hierarchy. Consider when you get your beef, get it from a local source. I dare you. Get a quarter cow, half cow, full cow, whatever, however large your family is. You're gonna save a ton of money getting awesome meat. And especially if it's grass-fed, grass-finished, that baby's gonna be delicious. And you can fill up your freezer with it. Because I've had so many patients over the years who get 100% grass-fed beef from their local grocery store, Safeway, Kroger, Albertsons, Costco, Trader Joe's, and they have significant digestive issues, headaches, joint pains, different things that happen when they consume the meat from their local, big barn distributor. But then they go down the street and they get like pork or chicken or turkey or bison or cattle meat, beef meat, and they have no issues from the local provider. So I'm not sure what it is, but there's something that's going into a lot of these meat items that is not supporting the well-being of us humans. And that is what we're eating, right? We're eating to support our well-being. So consider that when you're looking at meats. Going local, going organic, going grass-fed, that's primed to make you feel amazing when it comes to meat and feeling satiated. That's what we want to feel. So number two on my list is vegetables. Vegetables are a beautiful thing. All those phytochemicals in there, they're loaded with nourishment for us. And I think vegetables, they pair beautifully with meat products because you got all those colors, and all those colors, can make up for a lot of the oxidation that happens when we are cooking meat. Because I don't recommend eating raw meat. And I know some people do, but there's just a few, and there's a good reason there's just a few recommending raw meat. So eating vegetables along with your meat products is awesome because it can really decrease a lot of the effects of heat on that meat because of all the antioxidants and phytochemicals in your vegetables. I would also suggest though cooking your vegetables to get the most benefit from them. And cooking itself also breaks down a lot of the cell walls, making them much more digestible for us. Otherwise, eating just tons of raw vegetables, it really is the rare person who can eat a ton of raw vegetables and not end up with some kind of digestive distress, gas, bloating, if not in the short term, over the long term. Because the cell walls in so many vegetables these days are just insanely tough. So your kale, I would not be eating that raw. Even like juicing it, kind of bad idea. I would throw that kale, either incinerate it, like with a blender, and then put it in soups, or saute it up, dehydrate it, turn it into crispy chips, delicious. But my favorite way pretty much is because dehydration takes so long, and it seems like it's like, man, we threw like 14 bags of kale in there and we end up with like half a bag after we dehydrated it all. My favorite thing to do, because it's quick and easy, throw kale on a pan with some vinaigrette and maybe a little olive oil, saute it up, and then throw it on whatever food I'm eating. It's delicious. Also, I'd throw like some sea salt on there too. And then number 3 on my hierarchy would be fruit. Fruit is delicious, is it not? I mean, what would we do? It's berry season right now. You gotta eat your blueberries, your strawberries, your raspberries, your blackberries, your boysenberries. I mean, those are just asking. Those are just nourishment staring at us. Delicious, great to add to any kind of breakfast meal, or as a snack item, or a post-dinner, little like, say, goat yogurt and berries, or heavy cream and berries. Can go a long ways in supplying you with a sensation of satiety and that deliciousness. So fruit, I wouldn't juice it. I wouldn't blend up a bunch of fruit and be having that by itself, but whole pieces of fruit can work great in your hierarchy of health. And I wouldn't cook fruit, less cooking of it. I mean, I gotta have apple pie. Usually my birthday, I get apple pie made by my mother, which is delicious. But otherwise, I would kind of be easy on the cooking of fruit, because it really does break down into very, very simple sugars, and that has a kind of big effect on your blood sugar. Insulin response, we don't want that, because most people these days are trying to get their body composition less on the fat side and more on the lean muscular side. And a bunch of sugar, a bunch of simple carbohydrates from highly cooked fruits is not going to help us get there. All right, so number 3 would be like nuts and seeds. And when we consume nuts and seeds, I mean, if you have an autoimmunity, you got digestive issues, man, I would probably skip nuts and seeds, because they do have a lot of chemicals in them that can be really challenging for the digestive tract. And a lot of people, if they eat tons of nuts and seeds, and they already have some GI issues, they can end up with diverticulitis and those kind of things. So it's not the nuts and seeds' fault. It's like they're not getting into those crypts and causing infections. It's just that the chemicals in there, especially if they're not cooked, sprouted, or soaked, they can be really irritating to the bowel lining. So if you're gonna eat nuts and seeds, 100%, I would cook, roast, sprout, soak, bake, do something to pre-digest them, to break down those really intense cell walls, to get rid of a lot of that lectin activity within these nuts and seeds. And then number 4 on my list, or it's actually number 5. Number 5 is beans and lentils. If you can handle them. I mean, I'm super light in beans and lentils, kind of rarely eat them. But they do have a bunch of soluble fiber, which can be awesome for mopping up a lot of those bile salts in the small intestine. So if you can't handle them, go for it. Just make sure you cook them. Do not eat them raw. I mean, they can actually be really dangerous if you eat a bunch of raw beans and lentils, like potentially kill you because of toxicity. So you got to cook them up real good. Otherwise, you could be in trouble. And if you feel like I just cannot handle beans and lentils, fine, don't worry about it. If you have meat, vegetables, and fruit coming into you, you're gonna make it. Don't even worry about it. You're gonna make it. And then last but not least would be the grains. And the main grains I would suggest sticking to would be sprouted oats. Pretty much, if you're gonna eat a grain, I would sprout it. It's got to be soaked. You've got to remove all that chemical matter that is making it undigestible for the body, and that would be an irritant for the body and would lead to decreased nutrient uptake from other foods that you'd be consuming. You got to get rid of that. Otherwise, you could be in trouble. It could cause a lot of irritation in the bowels, increased leaky gut syndrome, leading to potential autoimmunity down the road and that kind of thing. So you really want to watch the soaking and sprouting. You've got to do that when it comes to grains. And oftentimes you can just buy pre-soaked or pre-sprouted grains, and that's pretty much what we do the majority of the time. We're not usually sprouting and soaking them ourselves. And I would say amongst all that, things like broccoli sprouts, which we love talking about. Those would be in the vegetable category, and I would eat them up. Amazing. And those are a lot easier to digest, actually, than your actual big old pieces of broccoli. And you only need a little bit, a handful. It's like eating 5 pounds of broccoli, so it goes a long ways. Same thing, mushrooms. I think mushrooms are fantastic food, but I would not make mushrooms my lifestyle. I would be moderate in their intake, and 100% of the time I would cook them. Otherwise, there are chemicals in mushrooms that are associated with a lot of cancers and are considered carcinogenic if they're not cooked. But you cook them, boom, it's gone, you're good to go. So say you're trying to endeavor on this health accumulation journey. Otherwise, there's no way you'd be watching this for the last 10 minutes, right? You want health accumulation. And so you're probably saying, you know what? I want to do what you're saying, Dr. Matt. I want to change my lifestyle this way. I want to be meat, vegetables, fruit, a little bit of nuts and seeds, minor on the grains. I want that to be my life because I want to feel so good. I want to melt body fat. I want to have great energy, just this vigor for life. I want that. And I want food to be a vehicle to help me get there. Well, if you've had issues changing your lifestyle, appetites overriding, cravings are crazy, just they're getting in your way all the time, I would consider, ramping up that protein intake. It's one of the few times I say, hey, check your macros, get an extra 20, 40, 60 grams of protein in a day, especially if you're just starting out, and see what that will do for you. Because there was a study on these bodybuilders, and they increased their protein intake by 800 calories a day. Kept everything the same and just increased their protein intake by 800 calories a day. And what they found was that these guys did not gain a single pound. Their body composition didn't change at all. They didn't gain any fat, and yet they increased their calories by 800 calories a day from protein, which is a ton of protein. So if you want that feeling of satiety and you feel like you're not getting it and you're trying to change your lifestyle related to food and get on this health accumulation train, then I would increase your protein intake. Add an extra 20 grams to every single meal. So, every egg has 8 grams of protein. A palm full of steak or chicken is gonna have 30 grams of protein, maybe even 35, depending on how lean it is. But add those. A cup of yogurt, goat yogurt, full fat, right on pot yogurt, that's probably gonna have 12 grams of protein in it. So adding these things in can make a huge difference in that feeling of satiety. And that's what you need. You need that feeling of satiety to help you get through the lean times when you're like, man, I'm trying to keep my momentum going. I'm trying to keep after this. I want to do what is the right thing to do, what is the best thing to do for my body, and change my trajectory for life and related to food. The thing to do, just an easy thing, is to add a little protein. Add a little extra protein, and you'll be shocked at how full you are, how satisfied you are, and in the end, guess what? You'll be winning. So get hyped about the benefits that is in food. So many people completely overlook the benefit that is the food they eat. Food is powerful. It literally is information for your body to take you down a road that could be loaded with health accumulation. Sure, depending on what you consume, it could be loaded with non-health accumulation, but you're not watching this because you're trying to get unhealthy. You're watching this because you're trying to get healthier. So let's accumulate health. Consider trying out this hierarchy that I'm suggesting, meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, grains. Try out that hierarchy, give it a go. Give it 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, just see. Does it help you get the body you want, get the mind, the energy, the better sleep, the better digestion that you desire? Try it. All right, I'm Dr. Matt. I'm gonna see you guys next week, and please like this, share this. People are only gonna get healthier by sharing this. That's the deal. We wanna make people so stinking healthy that any of this mumbo jumbo in the world going on right now doesn't touch us, because we're health accumulators. We're so far beyond what the rest of the standard industrialized world is doing, because we are health accumulators. Chat later.